One moment. Sean, your microphone is muted. So we would like your introduction all over again, please. Thank you very much.
Welcome to Life, Love, and All the Above. Thank you so much for coming. We are so excited to have you here. This is episode 5, and I am Sean. I am one of your hosts, and I'm going to turn it over to Nisi now.
What's up, girl? How you been?
Fine. How are you?
I'm good. How's your week been?
It's been good.
It's been good. Anything new? Anything good? I mean, what's been going on?
Just same old working. Glad that the weather is changing.
I know that's right, because girl, you know I'm here in DC, so we got seasons in a whole week. We got summer, winter, spring, and fall all in one week. But enough of that. Let's get ready to dig into this show today. I just want to say to our viewers and listeners that have been with us for the last couple of weeks, welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Look, we got a beautiful show for y'all tonight. We have none other than author Sulonda Smith. She's a licensed counselor. She's a marriage family therapist. She's a speaker, and she's an author. She is the author of What Men Absolutely Must Know About Women and What Women Must Absolutely Know About Men. And she came to give us, she came to give us the lowdown. She gonna give us.
She is ready.
She's gonna tell us why men and or women, because you know some women, why they won't commit. So after a word from our sponsors, we will introduce you to our guest speaker, Miss Sulonda Smith.
Welcome to Empire Marketing, where we launch your ideas into empires. Looking for the very best deal for a quality website, affordable hosting, or a one-stop online marketing streamline solution? Our range of services will enhance your business goals. Our certified staff will work with you and your business to build a solid brand, starting with eye-catchy and easy-to-remember logos, video presentation, 3D animation, music for your presentations, voiceover actors. Our professional team has years of experience in providing the most professional graphic design and marketing services at the most economic rates. Let us increase your website conversion rates with lifelike artificial intelligence support staff and sales reps, standing by to answer your questions 24 hours 7 days a week. Audio Jungle.
Okay, and thank you for that. And now we would like to bring our guest speaker on, and we're pleased to introduce none other than Ms. Author Sulonda Smith. Can y'all help me welcome her? Give her a big welcome.
Yes, thank you for coming.
Yes, thank you for joining us. I have been waiting for this night.
Yes.
I really have. Yes, ma'am. I surely have.
Oh, thank you so much. We're going to have some fun. We're going to dig in, and I'm going to tell you as much as I know, and your audience may even chime in and teach me some things, because there's a lot going on in the world. So yes, thank you for having me, ladies. I really appreciate you.
Yes, thank you for being here. It is our pleasure. And, you know, being as though I'm single, I'm ready to get in. I'm ready to unwrap it, peel the onions. Like, I need to know what I need to do to get one right here or something. You know what I'm saying?
The right one right there, because
the right one.
We may have already had one right there. So let's get the right one.
And I would even tag on to that and say a right one. That's our penny.
Yeah, that's right one.
That is right. So, your signature book. I mean, your book. What women absolutely must know about men. Tell us a little bit about that, please.
Absolutely. Passion, that started with me and my own journey. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I can say that I failed at relationships over years and years and years till one day I realized I was the common denominator.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
So being that I didn't understand men, and because when I was raised, and this is many women's stories, I didn't know who men were. I just knew what the Cinderella stories and the Snow White
Yes.
stories taught us, which was he's supposed to just come and save the day. It didn't show him having a personality. It didn't show that he had needs too or he had deep feelings because he doesn't express him like we do, like or express them like we do, they overlooked. So when I figured out that I was a big part of the problem, I wanted to know about myself first. So I learned about who I was, like how my background taught me how to interact with men, what my thoughts about men,
Mm-hmm.
my behaviors with men. So I delved deep into who I was. Took a bunch of classes and courses to learn about men and women that weren't taught on the collegiate level or much less high school.
Mhm.
And so when I learned about myself, I learned about men. I have 7 brothers.
Yeah.
So and uncles, fathers, friends. So
Ooh,
I
okay.
got like
House full of men.
yes, I got down to the nitty-gritty. So I heard all the stories. Like I was the ultimate wing woman, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So it prompted me to feel more deeply and really understand who they were, like strip the coats, which I call like our genders, right? If you're a man,
Yes.
you're a woman.
Yes.
Strip the coats, and we are designed very much to be the same and compatible. We complement each other with an E, not an I, but we
Mhm.
complement each other. So that's my story. That's how that book evolved because I wanted other women to know that you don't have to do the same routine that we learned with what we watched on television, what we watched our family members do in failed relationships, and sometimes even the great relationships. We didn't get the background or education to know how to understand men or talk to them, much less teach them about us. So that's how my journey began.
Okay. It's
And I
interesting.
think that's so good that you were talking about your journey and just being real with us, because a lot of times we look at what we think is a good relationship,
Mhm.
or we look at what we see other people have and we try to imitate that, but we don't know all the background work. We don't know what went with those years of marriage. So I am so excited for you to tell us, especially when you said you started your journey with looking at you, because if something's not right, we can't say it's always the other person. The other person. It's easy to point the finger at someone else.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I resonate with what you said about realizing that you were the common denominator, because I'm the same way. I've had failed relationship after failed relationship, and I sometimes be like, is it me? Maybe, you know, I don't know what's going on. I didn't take the time to do a deep dive, but I do realize that I did realize I had my own set of hangups and issues. And in that being said, so I took some time off to kind of just get to know me. And I kind of figure out what I was doing wrong as to why I couldn't sustain a relationship, but just figure out who I am and take the time to learn to love me. Because I just realized, the more I love me, the better I will be for somebody else. And you have to be open to receive it. So I guess that gets us into the whole, you know, um, could that be a reason why men won't commit? If we're dating and maybe they see little things in us that maybe we not might not understand or realize, and while we're pushing for more and more, and they be like, no, because they don't really want to.
Hold up, baby, not you.
Right. They want to slow walk you, and you thinking, well, I've been with you all this time, and you don't want to commit. I want to do this, and some men just don't know how to tell a woman, hey, you have some issues, and until you get your issues together, this is it. So What are we doing wrong? What is some reasons that men won't commit?
Okay, so we're not doing anything wrong. And I appreciate your show so much because many of us aren't educated about relationships. Like this needs to be something they teach in school.
Yes.
How to have a relationship with the opposite sex, how to relate to people, how do you solve conflict? These things are not taught. And it's really important and it's vital that we start teaching that we have deeper tools of communication. But there are so many reasons why men won't commit. And that's why it's important not to think you're doing something wrong or he's doing something wrong. And I'm going to give you a couple of them, the most common reasons why men won't commit. One, he's not ready.
Yes.
And Passion, you already said that. Or Sean, you said that too. If a man isn't ready, he's not going to commit. That means his finances aren't together. Doesn't matter if you're making a lot of money and you can help the household or the family survive. He wants to hold up his end of the bargain too. Now we're talking about a healthy man, okay?
Yes.
Because there's a big difference. Some men haven't made it there yet, and they have quite a few issues to work through. But a healthy man won't commit because his finances aren't together. He has nothing to bring to the table. And a man with how he's designed will not come to the table empty. The testosterone, the vasopressin, and the malarian inhibiting substance, those are all hormones, are very powerful, which drives him to want to protect, perform, problem solve, and provide. Okay. That's his natural makeup. A man also won't commit if he's not with the right woman. She may do some things right, or that pleases him, should I say. There isn't a right or wrong, but pleases him or that can help him be his best. But there's still some things that's missing. So when a man sees a woman, typically it takes about 10 seconds for him to know if he's going to take her home to mama or take her to his bed.
I know that's right.
So he knows. And a woman knows too, but because many women are taught to attract men with just their bodies, which is a vital part of the interaction and the attraction, it isn't the only one. And I'll talk about that in just a minute.
Yes.
Another reason men won't commit is that he doesn't know who he is yet. If he's still trying to figure out his place in the world and where he's going to build his legacy and what he has to provide, he won't commit. So a woman, we're like, well, we're in love. What you mean we shouldn't get married or we shouldn't be? Right? Okay, yes. Thank you for saying that. Because that's exactly how women think. We're in love. But see, a man's first priority is not love.
It's not.
To commit. It's his ability to take care of you and the children if you decide to have some, because that's his main focus.
Right.
So if he's not right, he's not going down that aisle.
That's right.
Or a courthouse, or just standing under a tree and saying, yeah, we do, and we is. He's not going to do that. Okay? That's not going to happen. So another reason that he won't commit is heartbreak. He's had early years of heartbreak. A lot of times it happened in his adolescent years or his childhood. There was a client that I had. He was so in love with his first girlfriend at age 12. She was a goddess to him. And one day he was walking her home, the typical holding her books and holding her hand. And his best friend comes up, says a few choice words degrading him, took the girlfriend by the hand and led her away. He still tells that story at age 67.
Wow.
He has not healed from that. So just because years go by doesn't mean that we heal from old wounds because they never got closure. And subconsciously, that's what's driving us to ruin a lot of our relationships. So heartbreak is a big one for men. They don't want to feel that again. And they think all women are the same because this is mantra. All women are the same. I ain't going to trust y'all.
Yes.
So these are the main causes for men not to commit. Others are today, particularly because the millennial age is a little different. Relationships are a little different today, right? You guys agree with that?
Yes, definitely
do.
So people aren't getting married, or they're not getting the piece of paper, or they're not walking down the aisle, but they're calling themselves in a partnership. They live together, they buy a house together, they have children together. But there's still an easy out. Now, there are some who take it seriously, even though they don't have the paper. because it's the paper is of something legally binding to say if we split, then you get this and you get that, and you're taken care of, right?
Right.
But at the end of the day, it's the community that it has the big say, because they're supposed to be the ones supporting you on your way through this journey of a relationship with someone. Ideally, that's how it used to be, old school.
Yes.
Changed a lot. So relationships have changed. There's open relationships.
Yes.
So you can still be committed when you're in an open relationship, but the hard part for many people is they don't know how to divide their emotions.
Yes.
I don't know
That's
about
hard.
you.
Right.
It's a whole lot. I'm not sharing.
I was just going to ask you that question.
Yeah. I'm not gonna do that.
I'm
I
wondering
can't
about
share
the audience
either.
too. You know, has anybody in the audience been put in that position or asked to share or to be in an open relationship? Because people think that there's a shortage. I'm gonna tell a short story here. I was in a workshop years ago with a Mali elder, and a question was asked of her: what do we do about the men's shortage? We were in Atlanta at the time. What do we do about the men's shortage? And she said, what? I don't understand what you're saying. She says, it's a shortage of men. What do we do as women? So the speaker still stood there like deer in headlights and said, I really don't get it. So somebody else blurted out, it's not enough men to go around for women. And she looked around the room. She was like, just wash it off. And she was quiet. And they said, what?
No.
She said, wash
Exactly. What does that mean?
Okay, y'all ready for this? She said that in her village, when a man came calling for one of the 4 sisters, they had to take all 4.
What?
Because the bond between the sisters was stronger for them than the bond between a man and a woman.
Wow.
In that village, they spent more time among the same gender than they did with the opposite. The opposite gender, you only came together for ceremony, procreation, and food. But other than that, their bond was with the women. So he had to come and take care of all of the sisters so that they could remain together and in that strong love and that bond. They didn't have a hang up about ownership when it came to sex. So I'm not saying we need to go back to that way. But what I'm saying is that, you know, how we think about relationships also is a big block to us calling in A1 passion, like you said earlier, calling in A1. You know, Sean, like you said, okay, is this a redo? You know, can we do this again? But this time around, you're more clear about who you are in the world, what you'll put up with and what you won't. And a man will follow a woman who knows what she wants, but still gentle, still kind, and still firm. So a man will not commit to a woman who is not confident.
Right. Most definitely.
Those are the most common, there's others, but those are the most common reasons why men won't commit.
So have you ever heard of, in counseling men, have you ever heard them say, she just don't listen? Because I had one man tell me that I was dating this guy, and he was like, you just don't listen, you know. I was like, you ain't my daddy. I ain't got to listen to you. It was like, so it's like, so I think I'm wondering if that's like a big deal breaker for some men. But I get it because I had somebody else explain it to me. But I'm a grown woman. My father barely told me what to do because he wasn't around. My mom raised me. So I think I have some issues sometimes with male authority. So I just be looking at them side eyes sometimes when they be trying to be assertive or tell me. And I always chalk it up to, well, I'm an alpha female, right? But I don't even know if that's necessarily true. I mean, no, let me not say that. It is true. I'm very much an alpha female, right? I'm a strong, independent, beautiful Black woman, right?
Yes.
And so I do have problems taking direction from men sometimes. So yeah, all right, whatever. So have you ever heard that one, that she just don't listen?
Oh, of course. That's up there, like with the main 3 problems men have with women. One, she asks the same question over and over again when we resolve this issue. 2, she don't listen to anything that I say.
And nagging. I know that's in there.
Well, nagging will be with the second one. Yes, Sean. Nagging will be with the second one. But the third one is that we don't have sex as much as we used to.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
So it is a great question. Yes. Okay, so this is how I can share about that one, because that one's a real deep one, even though it seems like a really simple question.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said before, men are built to lead. The testosterone and all those hormones, they can't help it. That's who they are.
Right.
So when he's talking to you, in his mind, he's thinking he's providing for you by giving you answers. He wants to fix your problems. That's what men do. And if he can't fix your problems, then he feels like he can't offer you anything. That's how he's designed. He can't measure if you're not smiling and happy and giving him compliments and sex. He has no measure to figure out what he needs to change or if he needs to do better. All he knows is that you're nagging and complaining tells him he's not good enough at this time. And eventually he'll stop trying. So it is very natural for a man to tell anybody that's in his territory, in his kingdom, in his home, that he takes care of, what to do. Now, many women mistake it for him trying to be controlling. What he's really trying to do is to keep everybody safe and protected. Men, too, have to learn how to share sometimes some of the power with women, or make it 50-50. It depends on what kind of man you got. It was interesting you mentioned beta and alpha. Beta people, both men and women, are the ones that's more empathetic. They'll sit and cry with you. They'll ask you what's wrong, right? How can I help you? They're like, oh. Alphas, okay, well, let me know when you're done crying. Well, you just need to get over that. Come on, shake it off, keep going. And they can come in male or female form. So one of the things that I teach men is how a woman is designed and her nature. Now, truly, a woman who is at peace with a man will follow. I'll say that again. We need to see your face.
Peace.
Right. A woman who's truly at peace will follow because she selected a man who's worth following. He has the same common interest and the goal for his family that he will not harm you. Now, if you weren't raised with dad in the home, or if you weren't raised around men, you're not used to him calling the shots. And here again, we go back to a healthy man. Okay. A healthy man. So let me back up a little bit. Men like to be called kings, right?
Yes.
Okay. I always tell men you can be called a king if you learn how to serve, because that's what kings do. They serve the people. It's not just about rulership and telling people what to do and taking things away and giving it when he pleases, but it's about serving. And that involves being humble. That involves really understanding what the people in your territory or your house really need and listening.
Yes, yes.
So that's something that men miss because the education they were given by their forefathers, which is a generation coming out of many different cultures, right?
Yes.
Different ways of being that really wasn't healthy or to keep the family together. So now he's passing on those generational tools to his offspring, so forth and so on, and they're practicing the same thing. Just do what I say. That's not
exactly.
it. That's not how it goes. So it's a reteaching, it's a rewiring for both men and women when it comes to relationships. So yes, he'd rather you follow his word. But even how you approach him when his word is not the most vital or helpful, he will respect you for how you walked to him and said, "Hey, babe, what do you think about this?"
Yes.
Just curious, right? There's a difference from I ain't doing that, right? And giving them the eyes and the tisk and the neck and the hip.
With all the attitude, right?
Okay, right there.
Right.
He got that head snapping. But you remember Big Mama, right?
Mm-hmm.
Big Mama would sit back and she would barely have to speak a whole sentence for her crew, her family to know what they needed to do. Am I right?
You're right.
Yes.
You're absolutely right.
She got that respect, and it was both her being firm and her teaching at the same time to help people keep their dignity, but also helping them learn how to receive direction. So I say for women who aren't at Big Mama stage yet, right? Not the the elderly woman sitting on a rocking chair. We can use those tools too, so that our people, our folks, our men, our sons, our daughters are excited about doing what we request and we ask, because we make them feel so good when they do.
Mm.
That's the key. That's the magic. So I'm giving a nugget that
Okay.
you can help people feel so good, they will do anything for you. Same with men. That's what I teach the women.
I like that you were saying that, because what I wanted to go back to, because you said something, you said that both the men and the women need to be retrained and taught how to operate in a relationship. And I think that's so important. I think that when we're exploring ourselves or examining ourselves, we have to know our background. And when Nisi brought up that point about she wasn't raised around men, so she always saw an alpha female. So I guess what I'm saying, a reason I wanted to ask this question is, could it also be the fact that sometimes we think that we're just trying to set out boundaries and make sure that we're not taken advantage of, and that, they know what we stand for and who we are. And so why I was asking that is because I was reading something and it said that it could be the flip side too, that when we don't stand up for ourselves and say what our boundaries are, men feel like we didn't tell them what we are worth because we haven't established boundaries and stood up for ourselves. So it's kind of two sides I want you to speak on.
Yes, yes, and yes, Sean. That is a juicy piece of information, because think about how many times a man asked you where you wanted to go when you went out, and you said, I don't know, you choose.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He wants to please you, so he wants you to pick. So you are taking the lead. He's offering that space. And that's an easy example, of course, but you're taking the lead to say, yeah, I want to go to such and such restaurant that just opened up, right? He's like, okay, cool, let's go. But if you're like, I don't know, he's like, okay, I can't please her. I don't know what she wants. She's too difficult.
Okay.
So you're absolutely right. Creating boundaries does show him how to love us and how to treat us. We train each other.
Yes.
Not using train in a bad way, because we do it every day when we at work with the people we work with our families, with the grocery store clerk. We train people how to treat us and what we allow them to get away with.
That's true.
Right? Yes.
Yes.
So yes, it is the flip side. Your man wants to know what you don't want. Okay, babe, I really love it when you buy me roses. I feel so special. Is it possible you can get me some tulips? They don't make me sneeze as much. What do you think?
Right.
So
that's nice.
your delivery and how you deliver things. Now, some women have said to me, Sulonda, it sounds like you just pacifying these men and you just treat them like babies.
Babying them, huh?
Okay. Yeah. And my reply to that is that they're designed a little differently than us. Our hormones make us different in the way of how we receive information, and how we hear it.
Right.
And so instead of thinking of it as babies or treating them like little boys, how about that we are inviting their feminine sides to join ours? Because we all have masculine and feminine. But what happens is that we get stuck in just one way of being. And Passion, you mentioned being like the alpha female. Well, she's the one who goes out and get it. She's the one, I want this done, I want that done. No, you fired, you hired, you're always pushing. You're handed, right?
That's right.
And the feminine is, okay, well, I tell you what, let's try it this way. And then you let me know how we do, okay?
Right.
Feminine energy is receiving. She's gentle, she's nurturing, she's open. There's a big difference. But men have that side too. And the only time they really get to experience it is when they go home.
To their mama.
To them. Yes.
When they go home. When they cross that
go to their mamas.
Yes. When they come home to you, they want that gentleness because they've already had the experience of being mostly masculine when they're in the world. So their being needs the balance. So when he comes home to you, he wants to cuddle, he wants to spoon, he wants to relax. He doesn't want to compete. He doesn't want to yell. He doesn't want to have challenges. But here again, men have to be taught. Yes, good word. Yes, Sean. That is the ultimate thing. He wants peace.
That is true. But you know, like for me, it's sometimes because I always have to be in that mode. So it's hard for me to be soft and cuddly and all of this stuff sometimes, because when you have to be a certain way for so long, like you said, it's a retraining of your mind. So you know, it's hard for me to come out of that mode sometimes. So it's almost like I done been at work 8 hours a day. I done for traffic. When I come home, the last thing I ever want to do is have to cater to your ego. And I know that's the wrong way to be, because like you said, the world beats them up enough. So when they come home, that's right, that's supposed to be peace. That's supposed to be peaceful. That's where they can be vulnerable. That should be a safe space for them. But if they can't come home after a long day and to some softness and kindness, I can see where that would be a put off, or like, yeah, no, I don't know how much longer this gonna last, because this one here got some she got some problems.
I'm going to the bar to drink with the fellas instead of going straight home.
Exactly. And you blowing up his phone saying, where are you at?
Where you at? Right, because he don't want to come home because he know what he got to go through when he get home.
Yes. And I always say, how you treat somebody, you're really treating yourself well. Because when you can step into your own peace and interact with somebody, that's really for you. And everybody else gets the outer limits. Like, say you have a saucer in your hand, the saucer and then a cup inside of it, and you pour into the cup. Eventually, if you keep pouring, what happens?
It overflows.
Exactly. And it'll overflow into the saucer. So it's the overflow where you want to give from.
Amen.
Not from within the cup.
Lord.
Yes.
I felt that one.
Okay.
Yes.
So the two of you, when you're at home, and I'm going to change the word cater to support.
I like that.
Because he's also supporting you in this time too. It's not all about like he gets all of the softness and making sure let me get a pillow for your feet, baby. He put you down after you done had 9 hours at work and now you're dealing with the children. No, not at all. You create a routine together where you both get to come home and be in peace and enjoy one another and cater. We can bring that word back in to each other. Maybe Tuesday night you rub his back. Maybe Thursday night he rub your back. So you can, yes, absolutely. You can work with somebody so that both of you get your needs met in a relationship, because that's what a relationship is.
That's right. And I was like, when you say we teach them boundaries, right? But sometimes if they're attentive, and this is just for me, right? Whenever I'm in a relationship, I pay attention. So they might not think I pay attention, but I pay attention to my significant other. So I notice little things. So I may automatically just come home and do something because I know it needs to be done. And I mean, for him, right? Like I might see that he needs a new pair of clippers because he's, shaving. And I'm like, okay, that's getting a little raggedy. The blade's a little loose. You might cut up your head or something. So I might just go out and buy him some new clippers and come home and say, here's some clippers. Because I think if you notice something, then you shouldn't have to wait for somebody to tell you this is what I need. Because in a relationship, it's all about knowing your partner as well. So just like if he sees that, I need a new coat or something, he shouldn't have to wait for me to say, babe, I need a new coat, or can you give me some money for a coat? Maybe he could go out and just buy me a coat and come home and be like, here, because I know you needed a coat. So I think, if a person is attentive, then they're going to learn on their own what your boundaries are basically, or what you need to make you happy, or to be feel, that, oh, we're really in tune with one another.
And I think that's good, but now that's some of your female part coming out of, even though you're an alpha female, that paying attention and all, that's some of that beta stuff coming out. And so everybody doesn't have that, because some people are just waiting for you to just say what you need. Why is that so hard? You need a coat. Why are you upset that I didn't know you needed a coat? If you said, baby, can you give me some money for a coat, I would have bought you 10 coats. But now you're mad because I didn't buy you a coat. And so I think that sometimes we get upset with people because they don't read our mind, or they don't feel or think the way we think. And so now we're upset with the person because they're being themselves.
That's a really good point, Sean. Absolutely, because attentiveness doesn't come in the package automatically.
Okay.
It's a trait that you have to specifically look for in the one you want. I took this from oh my goodness, what is his name? He is a relationship coach. Hopefully I will remember his name, but I took this from him. He asked people to complete 2 lists. One list is a standard list to write down items that you want in your person that are absolutely non-negotiable.
Okay.
Tony Gaskins, that's his name.
Okay, yes.
I'm going to give credit to his invention. And then the second list is your preference list. Okay, so you write the standard list first. You want them to have a job. You want them to own a home. You want them to live freely, a nomad, whatever it is that you want. And then your preference is, maybe you like him to come in at 5'10", but he's coming in at 5'9". He's everything else that you want on the list, right? You rather have him with a bald head, but he has some curls, right? Okay, not a deal breaker, because he's everything on my standard list. So you have this list and you carry it with you, and you don't negotiate or bargain. But I will say what comes with that is having a strong constitution for entertaining yourself and being okay being by yourself. I didn't say alone, because you're never really alone.
Right.
You just don't have a partner, and learning how to create happiness while you don't have a partner is key, because that's really what attracts men also.
Yes.
So full of yourself, enjoy it.
Right.
So it's who you're choosing. And I will say, yes, Sean, I will say that men aren't as attentive by nature. They are single focused. I see that deer, I'm going to get that deer. That deer is mine. I don't see that bunny rabbit. I don't see them blueberries. I don't see those purple flowers, but I'm going to get that deer. And when she comes in, oh, the bunny is so cute. And look at those flowers. They just grew in. Oh my God, the blueberries are here.
Yes.
Right. She has a diffuse awareness. She is aware of everything that's happening.
Yes.
So he may not pay attention to those type of things, but it definitely doesn't mean he wouldn't provide them if you didn't give him notice.
Right.
Or ask him.
Right.
Just because a man doesn't take the initiative to attend to every single one of your needs doesn't mean he is not willing to take care of you, or that he doesn't love you.
Okay. So that could be some reasons why, because I guess on the flip side of that, you have women that don't want to commit too. Or just like you said, that's that beta coming, because like you said, how am I supposed to know that this is what you want? Just tell me. Because you do have women that are like that. They will fuss. He didn't get me this, that, and the third. Well, did you tell him? No. And that can cause issues in relationships as well, because some women automatically do feel like he should know. And that might be a reason why some women may be like, yeah, I ain't trying to marry him, because he could be everything, but it could be those little things like that might give her pause and be like, I don't know.
Yeah, I had a client, successful man in business, had himself together, checked off all her boxes on her standard list, and he would not remember anniversaries or birthdays.
Oh, and that was
I
important
mean,
to
he was
her.
just so super driven in his life and his work and his career and what he was trying to achieve. He wouldn't remember, and at first that bothered her. But she decided, you know what? He checks off all my boxes. What can I do to help him remember? So 6 months before her birthday, babe, I'm so excited. My birthday's coming up. I think I want to go to Mexico, or I thought about Hawaii. Like, what do you think? He's like, oh, yeah, babe, whatever you want. 3-month mark come up. Ooh, it's getting close, right? 1 month mark. Okay. We got to put something on the calendar. What do you think we should do? And so she would keep doing that all the way up to the night before. And it seems, I swear, and it seems like you wouldn't want to do that, or you wouldn't want somebody in your life who can't remember your birthday. But if it's a man who's truly driven and he's going after some things in life that's bigger than him, and he's trying to really make a mark and help some people and do things, then maybe he can get a pass. You say, okay, babe, you know, tomorrow's my birthday. I just really can't wait. I'm so excited.
Right.
That morning, he might be running to the store.
That's right.
But instead of feeling disappointed that he think he's purposely forgotten you or that he doesn't care about you, help him remember so that he can feel good about making you happy and you get to be happy too.
So is it all about making each other happy?
Adding to happiness, yes. I believe that we all generate our own happiness, and then a person can only add on to what you're already providing for yourself.
Exactly. Because that's kind of like that, you know, you can't tie your happiness to somebody else. You have to be able to make yourself happy, right? Because whatever that person is to you in your life, that's extra.
Yes.
It's extra because
it's a bonus.
It's a bonus because only you can really make you happy. You're happy. You can't tie your happiness to somebody else because you'll be miserable all your life. It's kind of like having expectations, right? I doing my now I've been single for 7 years, right? So during this last 7 years, you know, I've talked to a couple of people here and there, attempted dating here and there. But one of the things that I learned and I realized is that I would set expectations. I had an expectation. And when they didn't meet that expectation, the hurt and disappointment came in but that was my expectation. So now I don't expect anything from anybody at all. It's just not going to happen. You know, I don't have expectations.
I think that's a good thing. Expectations lead to heartbreak because you have your own image in your head of what you think that person should be doing. Especially if you didn't tell the person they should be doing that, because they can't read minds, right? So I really like the word goals. Like, this is my goal for us, and here it is. Or goals, here they are. Do you think you can work with this? You know, is this something you can do or not? Now, the biggest problem we have with our communication as a community is that we don't know how to admit when we don't have something or know something or can do something. For many of us. Now, many of us can, like, no, I ain't doing that, right? We're good at setting boundaries. But there's some who associate that with shame when they can't show up. So they won't tell you they can't do that thing, but they'll nod their head yes and then try to figure it out later. And then when they fall through, you're like, what? Like, really? Like, you said you would do this, and then you're disappointed, you're heartbroken. So the goal is, let's do this thing. And if it falls through, let's change the plan to achieve the goal instead of getting stuck in the emotion of it.
Yes.
And I think that's so good because we get, like Nisi said, she has an expectation. And I'm even thinking about like this new wave of dating and how we're meeting people now. And so we have all of these different expectations, and people, like you said, they don't want to be ashamed. So they show us things, especially on social media. They show us the big cars, the houses. They show us all these things that may not even necessarily belong to them, because that's what they want to represent them and to impress you. And then when it's time to tell the truth, they really can't come forward and tell you the truth because now they're ashamed or what have you. So when I think about that, I wanted to know from you, because even in us just trying to date, people just trying to date, we see warning signs, right? But we ignore them, especially depending on how bad you want to boo. You want to be booed up. And if you want to boo, we, be like, okay, like, you said, make that list, right? We'd be like, he got A, B. Oh, no. Okay. Okay, that's all right. We don't have to have no more. He have enough. He have enough. We can just go on a date. But there's certain things we should look for. And I'm wanting to know from you, what are some warning signs? Because we tend to like overlook it. What would be some warning signs of men just not being ready to commit? I know you told us why, but how could we know?
Yeah, sometimes that's really hard. And what kept coming to me as you were speaking, maybe somebody out there, it's for them or this resonates with them, is that no matter how pretty or handsome the package is, it's not okay to surrender and settle for a bunch of mess. Because that's one thing that we typically do. We look at the outer package. You can be considered the most beautiful person in the world or the most handsomest, but you can be the most messed up person on the inside. And so for me, it's so important to look at what's on the inside of a person. And I want to say something, a lot of people who society considers to be good looking or nice looking or fine or whatever, or beautiful, those people have insecurities. We all have them, but these people particularly have it because most of their lives, they were only noted for their beauty or being handsome. And they were never, ever complimented on any other aspect or talent that they have. So when they grow up and you're this person walking around, I call them spacesuits, right? This spacesuit, this skin, and you looking all good and stuff, but that's the only value you think you have, you will get used and abused because you don't know who you are.
Yes.
A lot of us fall for those types of people. That's a red flag. Now, I'm not saying beautiful people or good looking people can't make good mates or partners. It's not what I'm saying. You just want to be careful because their insecurities might run so deep about who they think they are. They don't know who they are, that they will accuse you of a lot of things like cheating or stepping out or not thinking they're good enough. So a red flag is to be conscious about how a person feels about who they are. Are they confident? People who are not confident with who they are, probably a big red flag. Another red flag is if a person is only asking you, this is probably an obvious one for many people, but if they're trying to take you to bed right away, that could be a red flag too. Although with the younger generation and in some other countries like Sweden, you can get with somebody and the first thing you do is have sex and then you have a relationship second.
There's a lot of people like that on this side of the world.
Yes. So it's the mentality. Absolutely. It's the mentality. So get to know the person. When you're dating, I recommend you date at least 2 people or more. And even if somebody emerges where you think that's your new boo, still date until you know for sure that this person has referred to you, literally have said to you or introduced you as his woman, his girl, his special boo. Y'all together, he's approached you and said, hey, let's be one-on-one. Or if you do open relationships, but it's still me and you, but I'm gonna be with somebody else too. Until you know you are that person, never assume you're in a relationship just because that person treats you really, really well.
Right.
Because we know a lot of people do that. Another red flag is how you feel when you're with this individual.
Yes.
How you feel when you're with them, not how they make you feel, but how you feel when you're with them. Does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense.
It makes a lot of sense.
Especially to a person that feels deeply, right? Because you could be around somebody and they can have fun, but you can still get a sense of being uncomfortable or something is off because your spirit is not right with this mixture right here. Something's not right. My spirit is not feeling your spirit. Even though you could make me laugh and we could have fun, I don't know. I don't know.
Yes, absolutely. It's if you can you giggle and snort when you're around him?
Okay.
Can
Be
you be
yourself.
silly?
Right.
Right? You know, can you be silly? Can you dress down and still feel good when you're with him? So it's how you feel. Those are the main three.
What
Um,
about knowing their history? And what I mean by that is, um, you talk to somebody and they're saying, "Oh, I'm ready now. I'm ready to settle down." And then you said, "When the last time you were in a relationship?" And they said, "Oh, 2 weeks ago."
mm-mm.
And you're like,
That's a
2 weeks, two
telling
weeks. Well,
story.
how many relationships have you had then?
Mhm.
Oh, normally I'm with people who, for a month, 2 months, maybe 2 weeks,
Mhm.
until I just find the right person.
Mm.
I wonder because now when I'm telling my girls that I talk to, I'm telling them be careful of that because these people probably want to add you to their stats. Am I wrong to tell them that?
Uh, the person could be honest and saying, "Yeah, it was 2 weeks ago." Men, okay, I'll say this, then I'm going to take it back.
Okay.
Men can bounce back from relationships a lot quicker than women.
Well, that's true.
Yeah. However, that doesn't mean that he has completely gotten over the last relationship. He probably knows that it's a no-go and it's not going to come back around, but he still has to process that out of his system. But that doesn't mean that he can't go out and entertain himself with another person while he does that.
Mhm.
And I always say when you're looking for a man, the best man to find is the one that's been divorced because he's gotten some lessons in that divorce.
Mm.
He's had an opportunity to dig deeper in within himself to learn more about who he is and think about his mistakes and things that he had done. So the next time around, he's a lot better.
Mm.
Okay. How long divorced?
How long divorced? It really depends
Yes.
on the man because a person could become detached during the divorce itself or the process, the separation itself.
Mhm.
Okay.
So it really, really depends. But I would like for women to really follow their intuition. Now, some people might say,
Yes,
that's a little woo woo and it's not concrete or scientific.
it's true.
Most women know, though, when something's not right because when they date the man, they have the experience, then they go back and tell their girlfriend, I knew I should have paid attention to so and so. Something told me I shouldn't have so and so. But like you
Mhm.
said, Sean, earlier, we do that, but we ignore it. And it's not strong enough for us. But if we follow that, that's that same understanding or that same openness that we listen for red flags that we could invite someone really special into our lives with.
You know, and I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna piggyback off of something Sean said because something you got some men, especially in this day and age, and again how internet dating is kind of like a norm now. But you
Yes.
got some men that prey on women that are looking to be in relationships, and they play this. Every woman they meet, they say, "Oh, you're gonna be my wife. You're gonna be my wife. You're gonna be my wife," type thing. For a woman that may, because some of us women feel like, well, some women feel like they're running out of time
Mhm.
and they want to be married by a certain time, or they set certain goals for themselves and now they're feeling like, oh, I'm at that end. So what would you say to women in that instance where, and I know this is kind of off of the beaten path, but it just goes back to some that thing where some of them won't, but then you got some of them that's always promising too.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah. A couple things with that. Well, three things. One, I'll go back to what I said about women getting used to being alone or walking their own paths.
Okay.
And whenever they invite a lover into their lives, they understand that it is not a permanent thing.
Mm,
Could be, but don't look at it as a permanent. So enjoy the ride.
right.
Okay. Secondly, some men are trying you on. They want to see how you react to certain things.
Mm,
Right. Oh, my mama love you.
mm,
Right.
mm,
Oh, hey, you ever been to Greece? Right? They're trying you on. So I always tell women, don't pay any attention to that. Say, yeah, I'd like to go to Greece. Yeah, Greece would be fun. And just leave it at that. Never bring it up again. Because that's just what men do. They're testing you. They're looking at we're always testing each other when we're dating to see we're weeding out, right? We're trying to weed out people.
Mm-hmm.
There's some people who have tests that just take you through too much.
Right.
Right. They're always testing because they're afraid to have a committed relationship with you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, and then there's some men who just want to play and they know how to pull the strings of a woman's hearts and desires. It's unfair, it's rude, it's cruel, but that's just what they do because they don't know themselves yet. Or that's just who they decided to be, and they're acting like that until one day they decide not to be that way. I know it kind of sounds, willy-nilly to say, oh, somebody will decide they don't want to be a certain way, but we do that all the time.
Definitely.
All the time. We're always checking ourselves, and some people don't reach the next level of maturity until after they've had a relationship with you.
Mm-hmm.
So there's nothing you can do about that. So what you want, he didn't have, but he had it for her.
Mm-hmm.
Then women are really mad.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's what leads. Sometimes I think that's what leads women to stay because they're like, I put all this time and effort into this man. I don't want him to leave me and then do all these good things to this next woman. And then they stay in a relationship that's just toxic and just they're not satisfied, not happy, and they keep hoping he will change. He's going to commit to me. Because he loves me, and they just stay. And I think I'm so excited that you said that because we have to know that it doesn't matter what we do if it's just not the timing for us. And I hate to say it that sometimes you met him too early. And maybe if you had met him 10 years later or 5 years later, he was in a better position for you. And we're just a casualty of that relationship because we met him too early.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have to also be careful of what we call a relationship, right? Mm-hmm. Because just because you're, like you said before, just because you're hanging out with somebody and going out does not make that a relationship. Until two people sit down and say, this is what this is, then you're just dating. So
that's true.
It might not be a relationship.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
that's
you
very
have to
true.
Really be careful about because you could be terming it a relationship, and he could be thinking we just chilling, we just hanging.
Yep.
So exactly. You have to be careful about what you consider to be a relationship. That's it.
Yeah, and the type.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, that's okay. And the type. We're just hanging out. Okay, well, these are my hanging out terms.
Right.
Exactly. I don't do this, or this when we're hanging out, but I will do this, and this.
Right.
Now, if you want to have a one-on-one with me, this is what I'll do.
Right.
My goal is long-term commitment, or it's marriage. And then when we do that, this is what I'll do.
Right.
Yes.
So if more of us did that, I do think as women, I do think that men would commit a lot quicker. And the culture would be different. And some women don't want committed relationships.
That's true.
They're okay, just having a sexual relationship or somebody to go out and, share a new meal with or a travel buddy. Mm-hmm. So there's all kinds of relationships today. And I always say, whatever makes you comfortable in your life at the moment is what you do. Because 20 years from this point of you just having vacation ships, which I learned was a thing.
Yes.
You only meet up on vacations. And then later you decide you want to live with somebody, then that's your next step. So for me, when all the years that I've been doing counseling and therapy and coaching, which is over 20 years, I've learned that people are designing so many different ways of being in a relationship so that they can feel their best. They can be their best. They can build those legacies. They can be that power couple. And you have to find other like-minded people who are willing to participate with you in that type of relationship instead of forcing somebody and then beating up on them because they aren't agreeing to your terms. Man or woman, it doesn't matter. We have a process here where we think people are supposed to fit into our ideas of how we want to flow in a relationship. But it's not true. You have to find agreeable parties. Also, I don't think we spend enough time getting to know ourselves and have a great relationship with ourselves before we try to jump into a relationship with somebody else. But because that's what we've been taught, we don't know that it's okay to be by ourselves and enjoy our own company. Go take yourself to dinner, go to a movie yourself, hang out, enjoy your own company. And then when you invite somebody to your dinner or to a movie with you, they're just adding to how you feel, which is good. I appreciate you coming. I would have been good if you didn't. So I can live without you.
That's
I
right.
can thrive without you.
Exactly.
And I think that's so good that you said that, because going back to how you were trained, how you were taught.
Yeah.
When you have grandmama or all the aunts and all, when you come home, everybody say, when you gonna bring them? When is a man coming with you? When you gonna get married? When you gonna do this? And they put those type of stipulations on, particularly females, not so much as the males, but particularly females. You'll have women in the family many times asking about, when are you getting married? Do you have a boyfriend? Are you in a relationship? And those types of things. And so sometimes you tend to want to try to shift into what you consider to be acceptable for family or your friend group or what have you, because everybody, quote unquote, is having some type of relationship. Like you said, it's all different types. And so I just thought about that. That just came to me. And then the other thing I thought about too is that how old school, when we talk about the shift, and how old school would always say, why buy the cow if you're getting the milk for free? And so I thought about that when we're talking about commitment, because a woman who really want commitment, sometimes you might want to consider that when you're talking about, are you sure you want to have a sexual relationship with people? Because especially with people who don't really want to commit and you think you're going to change their mind, that's not going to work. I mean, you now have given them everything you have to offer. You're playing wifey and you're not the wife. You're washing their clothes, cooking, doing everything. Why do they have to commit?
Who doing all that? Who cooking and washing clothes, girl?
People are doing it. People are doing it. They are doing it. They are doing it. And then they're crying. They're saying, why he won't commit to me? I do this, I do that, I do that. And I'm saying, well, you're doing everything he needs and wants.
It's miseducation. That's what I think. You have very good points with that, Sean, because we're taught generational curses.
Yes.
Yeah, we're taught to behave and act in a certain way, and we keep teaching our children to act these ways, even if it's indirectly. We're watching them. We watch our caregivers with how they handle relationships, and people don't know that how you enter into a relationship is more than likely built on the framework that you watched your caregivers or the main adults in your life act out their relationships.
That is true.
Definitely true.
Mine is a little different. My father used to abuse my mother, and I have an older sister, and her first husband used to abuse her, and I was, young, and I used to think they were weak. They were, because you would see the abuse, and then they would get up and fix their food, and like she said, wash their clothes and do all this kind of stuff, after getting smacked in the face. And I used to just think, but as I grew up, I learned that they weren't actually weak, they were strong, right? To be able to endure and stand in all of that. But it gave me the mindset, well, I'm not doing any of that. Right. And so I'm not washing no clothes. I'm not cooking I'll cook, but I'm not gonna fix your plate. I'm not doing all of that, right? So like I said, I know what my issues are, but she just brought all of that up. That's why I'm like, who washing clothes? Who cooking? Because that's not, but that was only because I saw that as, something as being weak and not,
Yeah.
strong. But like I said, as I got older and I came to terms with it and I realized that no, they weren't weak, they were actually strong, because it takes a strong woman to stand and stay in that for the sake of your children and trying to make sure your children are happy and have what they need. And I was married for a brief minute, but it was not abusive physically, but it was a verbally abusive uh, relationship. And what I realized during that time was that when children grow up in that type of an environment, physically, verbally, emotionally, whatever, they are learning bad traits, bad characteristics. They have to, children have to see a loving relationship in order to know also how to be in a loving relationship. Because if they never witness or see a loving relationship, then when they get older and they start dating, they think certain things are right when it's actually wrong. So
Yeah. It's training.
yeah.
It's generational. Yeah, the generational curses or the generational cultures that we pass down, and sacrifices that we do make. Somebody's really sweet to us in the beginning. We have children, we have babies, and the next thing you know, they turn.
Mm-hmm.
And you didn't put all of your eggs in that basket.
That's right.
Right? You decided not to work because he makes a good living. He said, I'll take care of the whole family, so you stay home.
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard to leave when you don't have financial security or you don't have backup, when you have children that needs to be fed and clothed and taken care of. So there's a lot of circumstances why women stay in unhealthy relationships and why men stay in unhealthy relationships.
Yes.
I've heard stories about men being abused
Right.
by their partners. And so for me, we have a problem. We have to restructure and re-engineer, rewire, retrain how we think about ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
the constructs of relationships,
Yes.
right? And how we're going to treat other people, even when they fail the idea that we wanted to live and dream with them.
Right.
So it's a lot of confidence. Like you said, those women were strong. There's a lot of confidence that it has to happen. It's a lot of being able to say no, even when your heart is saying something else.
Yes.
And take an opportunity and a stand for you, even if that means you don't have a partner for the rest of your life while you're here on this planet.
Man,
I know that's a hard thing to think
That's
about
a
for
hard
a lot
thing.
of people,
no, I
but
think
it's
it's not. I think it's a very, it's easy. If, and maybe it's just me, right? If, and I know we weren't designed to be alone,
Mhm.
right? And I know there's a part of us that wants that companionship. But if you're, again, if you're truly happy with yourself and you truly love yourself and you have that peace, then you won't mind being single for the rest of your life.
Mhm. A lot of people don't know how to generate that, though.
Yeah.
It's very difficult. You're absolutely right. It's very difficult for a lot of people to have faith in themselves, where to go to get these tools. If I go get those tools, what are people going to think about me? They're going to think I'm crazy or I can't handle my business. I don't want nobody in my business.
Right.
So a lot of people suffer because they won't share what's happening. A friend of mine, I was talking to her today, and she shared that a friend of hers passed away from a cancer diagnosis. Matter of fact, on her birthday, my friend's birthday. And she learned that she had cancer in 2011, but didn't tell anybody until 2016,
Mm.
where she had a lot of people in her corner that could have helped and supported her
Yes.
on what she just thought that she could do for herself. So keeping secrets about what we need, we're thinking we're keeping ourselves safe, but we're also missing out on a lot of opportunity of more growth and freedom.
Mm-hmm.
Where people can help us. but you do have to know who to rely on and who not to. But it's just that we've been taught to be individuals for so long that it really gets in the way of our happiness.
It does.
And sometimes when we think we're keeping secrets, we might not, your friends and family don't know exactly what's going on, but they notice something. They
Yeah.
notice some changes. They notice you look different or what have you. And I was thinking about that because when I was in my marriage, and it was not a good marriage. And it was funny because when I finally got divorced, um, I was telling everybody, "Oh, I'm divorced. I'm divorced," and they were like, "Oh, we thought you'd been divorced." And I'm thinking to myself, "I thought you thought we had this relationship going on," and they were like, "No, we didn't think that. We thought you been divorced." And so I thought, I was keeping up this facade of, everything's okay on over here, everything's okay over here. And so, but people can see, and they also see what's happening to you. When I looked at myself in the mirror, when I finally started realizing, girl, you need to get up out of this, I had lost myself. I didn't recognize who I was. When I look at an old picture and I look at me now, I'm just like, who was that?
Yes,
But you even lose yourself in the relationship when you're not happy. And I know one of my reasons I stayed, when you said so many people stay for so many different reasons, was because I was a Christian. And okay, I made this vow. And so I wanted to say this. I don't know. I just wanted to free up Christians. God didn't ordain for you to be in a marriage that's abusive. He didn't ordain for you to be. Some of the times we put ourselves in situations and then we say it was God, but it never was God. We weren't even supposed to be in that situation. And so now we're trying to get it fixed. And it can't be fixed. The only way to fix it is to end it. And point blank, that's the only way to fix it, is to end it if you're being abused. So I just wanted to say that.
Wow. Yeah.
And also, they need to understand abuse is just not physical, because some people think
No, it's
they're
not.
not being physically abused. They're not. You can be emotionally abused. They're all different levels and different ways. So yeah, don't stay.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. But it's institutional.
Yeah.
Yeah. The abuses that we put on others and what we take is institutional. So we learn it. We learn that it's okay. It's interesting. Did you see that movie with Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence? Oh my goodness, what is the name of that movie? Where they were in jail. It was back in the
Life.
life. Yes. That was on the other day,
Hmm.
and for some reason I just couldn't watch it. I've watched it before and I was okay, but this time I really had a difficult time watching it, and maybe it's because of the work that I do with men,
Mm-hmm.
understanding who they are, what they go through. But watching it again, I made myself watch it. And I was looking at all the institutionalization that happens within that movie, from how they were thinking, how they were doing things, how they saw the world. And over 100 years, it hasn't changed from the time where the setting of the movie.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same type of thinking. And so at some point, we have to change how we think. Some people think, well, if I change, then people won't respect me, or people won't, they won't treat me the same, this, that, and the other. But what I've learned is that sometimes you have to let certain groups of people go at certain times in your life,
Hmm.
because they're not,
Yeah.
they're where you were and they're not where you are now. You just change the nature of the relationship. You still meet them where they are. You love them, or you respect them, or you speak to them. But maybe your interaction changes because you've gone to a different level, you know. And I'm not saying in any way that we're better than other people when we change who we are. What I'm saying is that we're just like, if you think of a plane, and sometimes somebody will get to A before B, somebody get to C before D,
Right.
right? And vice versa, we get our lessons that way. But you respect people with where they are and who they are in this world, because down when you go down to the wire of things in life, You are the one that you are acting for. How you treat other people is really for you and your peace of mind.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's really important to remember. And relationships with others, especially men, if you're a woman if you're a man, or if you're in same sex or whatever your choice is,
Mm-hmm.
you have to be ready to speak up for you no matter what, because nobody's going to do it for you.
Right. That's true. That is true. So again, this was just wonderful. I learned so much.
Yes, it was.
And I know you told us, but I just want to recap real quick. Maybe you could recap real quick. Then we gonna say our goodbyes. I hate to let you go, but maybe you'll come back and chat
Yes.
with us again. So I know you told us some of the signs we to know when a man won't commit. And I think early on you said, it's just as much as just making him feel happy with you or making him happy, you know, in order to get him to commit. I mean, that's what I guess I wanted to kind of close with. If we know why he won't, what can we as women do to make him want to commit?
Okay, so I'm going to say this. You cannot make a man commit.
Okay.
Yeah, you can't. He has to want to.
Yes.
Job is just to be yourself. You're loving, sweet, strong, sensual, juicy, whatever you are. You present yourself. You just be you. And
Okay.
then, right, if he's supposed to be in your world, then he'll make a way to be there because that's truly where he wants to be. And if
Mm,
he isn't, that's a favor
that's
he
how
does
we
for
can
you.
get exactly. Say,
Absolutely.
see you later.
Absolutely. And
That's
one of the biggest pieces is just tell him what you want and what you don't. A lot of men respect women, or they're very attracted to women who are clear about their boundaries. Like
That's
Sean was talking
right.
about earlier, when you say, you know what, I don't want that. And you look at him like just straight up, no, I don't want that.
hmm
And be strong about it. He's like,
right.
okay, okay, no problem, no problem. Well, what do you want? Because don't forget, he wants to please you.
That's right.
He doesn't want a woman who can't make decisions because she's going to be helping run his territory,
Mm,
Yes.
his
yeah.
kingdom. Just like the other way around. A woman doesn't want a man who can't make decisions or help the family grow. You
Mm,
won't invite him into your life.
okay. That's
So it
right.
works both ways.
That's right.
That's
Mhm.
right. Okay. Well,
That's
I
right.
can. Oh, I'm sorry. So again, but I thank you, and
Thank you so much.
I'm gonna close us out. It's National Poetry Month, and I'm a poet, so I think I'm gonna do a quick piece for in honor of National Poetry Month. And this poem is called "Lost in the Tide." For one brief moment, our worlds intertwined while we were in the same space at the same time, blinded by radiation from our heat, acting as if the world fell at our feet, loving carelessly as if we signed a non-compete, binding, binding us to love each other infinitely, selfishly, as if no one or nothing else exists, laughing in the face of time, knowing it wasn't on our side, and like the waves rush to kiss the shore, your love was mine, once and nevermore, ending all too soon, washed away with the tide, returning from whence it came, leaving me with memories that can't be erased, to be that happy once again, if only we could understand
Thank you.
it. Thank you. Mr. Scott, you want to take us up out of here? I guess not. Oh, yeah. If you go ahead. Go ahead. You want to people where they can get you, get your book, your website.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really easy to email me at Sulondasmith.com. The website is also Sulondasmith.com. If you're on IG, you can hit me up in the comments, DM me, and I'll respond back. But those are the easiest ways.
Okay. All right. And
Okay.
again, thank you and good night.
Thank you.
See y'all
Thank
next
you.
time. Bye
I
bye.
appreciate
Bye.
it. Thank you.